Welcome to Streams of Income, hosted by best-selling author and entrepreneur Dr. David Powers, where we discuss streams of income, passive income, residual income, and even why there are dinosaurs and zombies in this intro. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready to dive in.
All right, everybody, welcome to the next episode of Streams of Income podcast. I am David Powers, and we are here with Miss Jennifer Jackson. And I met this young lady through some of my UGC videos that I do, which, anybody that's been listening to me for any amount of time, I love doing those and always posting pictures of me doing them, in the house, out of the house, in the shower, wherever. And she came to me for some videos for an unnamed client, whom we shall not mention because that's all, like proprietary and all that. So we won't mention who it was. But I love doing UGC videos and even neater meeting cool people through doing those. So Jennifer, would you tell us about yourself?
Yes, but first of all, I have to say I love that you called me young lady because I am like now officially at the age where I'm called ma'am and nobody cards me anymore. And then worst of all, I've had a couple people call me Karen in the last year. And I was like, oh no, I'm at that age. I got to start getting all the Botox and stuff. But yeah, so I'm Jennifer Jackson. Kind of my backstory is I actually was a stay-at-home mom. But then in 2019, I suddenly found myself as a single mom with zero job skills whatsoever. Because before kids, I had been a zookeeper, and then we moved somewhere where there was no zoo. And so there wasn't really, a whole lot for me to do. So I ended up finding I took a couple courses online about how to do social media. And then using that knowledge, I ended up getting a job at a marketing agency doing their social media and some social media for clients. I also did some copywriting for them. And that's kind of how I learned all of that. So that was 5 years ago. And since then, I started taking on different freelance clients. So in those 5 years, I've done all kinds of social media. I've done copywriting. I've done ghostwriting. One of my specialties is actually viral video content. That's kind of what my agency right now does a lot of, is I've worked with a lot of big influencers, or I've worked for the agencies that create content for like really big influencers. And I've done that as both a script writer and a video editor. So that's kind of one of my specialties, is viral content. But then also a lot of ghostwriting. I love doing ghostwriting and all of that. So I do kind of the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do, which is to like niche down and figure out one thing you're good at. But I get bored very, very easily. So like every 6 months, I'm like, okay, I gotta, and then AI is the big one right now. So I'm learning all the AI art and generative AI and all that stuff too.
Yeah. So you're a multipreneur.
Basically, yes. Yeah. So,
all right. So big question, when you pivoted and took those classes on social media, where did you take the classes at? Was it like Udemy or something like that, or?
No, it was really interesting. I actually, what I had wanted to do was open up a yoga studio because I had like a yoga teaching certification. And I thought that I would make a ton of money opening up a yoga studio, which I later found out they actually don't make that much money, but figured, well, I need to start learning how to sell yoga. And so I found there was one marketing agency that specialized in marketing for yoga teachers. And they had a couple classes on how to do it. And so I took those classes on social media. And then that ended up being the marketing agency where I got my first job. I took their classes, and then I was commenting on their social media posts every day. And I was like, they would send out the emails a couple of times a week, and I would always hit reply and respond back. And then how I got the job is I just kind of pitched myself as I saw like, hey, I took your classes. Here's a couple of things I think you could be doing better. If you want, I'll go ahead and do them for you. And they're like, sure. And so I spent a couple of weeks kind of fixing up the things I thought needed fixing up. And then they offered me a job after that. I made it basically really, really easy for them to hire me. Although in like retrospect, I wrote a sales page for them. And this was the very first sales page I ever wrote. And like, just thinking back on it, I used it was like neon purple and yellow, which like is a huge no-no. Don't do that. And then I used like crazy fonts, like I found a Christmas font.
Yeah.
So like, I was so cringe looking back on it, but I think it's just like business owners really appreciate people who make their lives easier and just like do things without needing a ton of direction and checking in and all of that. So that's kind of how I've gotten all of my jobs ever, or all of my clients, is I just like say, hey, here's something I see you can make some improvement on. And I just make it really, really easy for them to take me
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's a neat, I mean, that right there, you could sum up this whole podcast in that lesson right there. I mean, just
Yeah.
be help to somebody, make their life easier, and you're in.
Yeah.
Reason I was asking about the school is there's a young lady I know that she is going to college, 4-year degree in social media marketing. And I was thinking, I'm not a big fan of college. I mean, I've got 6 college degrees, and what I do now doesn't require a single one. And I keep kind of trying to talk to her when I see her, and like by the time she takes a class, it's outdated. I mean, it's only these small classes like what you took that can really stay relevant to what's actually going on. I mean, you take a college class and the algorithm on Facebook or whatever has changed by the time you graduate.
Yeah, oh my God, it changes so fast. I'm in a group of YouTubers, and they're all like 19-year-old guys, and then there's me. And I'm like old enough to be their mother. But that's what happens, is they start these channels and they'll grow really, really quickly. And then 3 months later, like if it's a lot of them did motivational channels,
Yeah.
and like 3 or 6 months later, nobody's watching motivation anymore, and the channel just tanks. And like, there's no way that you can prepare for that. So you got to like just constantly, I spend 20, 30 minutes every day just scrolling online to see
Yeah.
what's happening. And I also ask people every time I go out to the coffee shop or whatever, I just ask people like, what are you watching on TikTok right now? And it changes, week to week, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's changing faster than we can keep up, but I mean, the only way to stay the least bit relevant is what you're doing. I mean, I've heard Gary Vee talk about the same thing, just spending 30 minutes on day commenting and checking things out, and it got you your job.
Yeah.
So,
The other thing too, if there is anybody out there who wants to get a job in social media, the huge, huge thing is like, you need to have your own account where you are posting your own content. And it doesn't have to be you. Like, I have accounts that are faceless, that I've grown and everything, but like the theory is completely different than doing it in practice. And you will learn things that like really can't be taught. Like, I'm very, very good at editing viral videos, but like, I can't explain really to people. It's just, a lot of it is just like, okay, what do I think is funny? And I'll incorporate that. And a lot of that, like, you can't go to school to learn that. It's just practice and doing it and then seeing what happens.
yeah, yeah. I mean, how long did Mr. Beast work at that stuff before he hit it big? It's you got to put in the hours, and most people
Yeah.
don't want to do that.
Yeah.
All right. So let me backtrack way back. So zookeeper, that's what you went to school for, I assume, to be a zookeeper. And
I
then
did. Yeah.
See, I'm picturing you doing the Scarlett Johansson thing, and we bought a zoo.
Yeah, that's funny. Where I live in New Mexico, there is a zoo for sale, and I've thought about buying. But it's really hard to make money at that. But yeah, so that's another job where you can't really go to school for it. It's one of those jobs that requires a degree, but you'll never use any of the information you learn. So yeah, I got a degree in biology, and kind of while I was in school, and then afterwards I did a lot of volunteering and I did a lot of internships. And then I actually was a zookeeper at the National Zoo in DC.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, which is a pretty good zoo to work for.
Yeah.
And I've worked at a few other zoos too. After we moved out west, I worked at a zoo out here. It's a hard job.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
And then you had kids and created your own zoo.
Yeah. So.
So what's your favorite animal? I mean, this got nothing to do with income, but you being a zookeeper, what's your favorite animal?
Oh man. So, well, my favorite animal that I ever took care of were sloths.
Yeah.
Because a sloth, like the number one cure for depression is you need to go feed a sloth because they just have the most like happy, blissed out look on their face when you feed them. They're just so chill and they're just so happy to eat. It's adorable. So those were some of my favorites. I loved taking care of flamingos. We got the hand-raised baby flamingos, which they are like super cute and fuzzy and they follow you around. I'd say now my favorite, I really like ravens. just because they're smart. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like orcas a lot. Orcas were the first animal I ever loved, and that's how I became a zookeeper. Is I saw Free
Yeah.
Willy when I was like 8, and I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. Like, and so from the time I was 8, like I just wanted to be an orca trainer, and I worked towards that. And then I got older, and it was kind of like, okay, orcas really shouldn't be in captivity. That's not a great thing to do. So I pivoted to birds instead, birds and
Yeah.
primates.
That's
So
pretty cool. I
yeah.
know there's a listener out there right now, though, that is okay. She was 8. What year did Free Willy come out? And they're computer age right now. And so
Oh yeah.
we'll ask them not to post that in the comments.
It's funny.
So as far as streams of income, though, I mean, you say you can't make much money with a zoo, like especially a private zoo. I mean, I would imagine unless it's municipal funded, you can't. So I mean, maybe somebody out there can disrupt the system and mess with that. But yeah, I always like that idea, like a system that people think like malls. I grew up with malls, and you're younger than me, so maybe malls were already on their way out when you were coming up. But
Mhm.
that whole system, I mean, if somebody could disrupt that and somehow bring it back, a lot of money in
Yeah.
that.
Well, that's kind of so first of all, that's one of the things that my boyfriend, he was a wildlife rehabilitator. So we're very big animal and wildlife people. And so one of our goals for 2025 is I actually have tested animal content. Like I've created my own animal content where I just go out in
Yeah,
my backyard and film like birds and bugs and all of that stuff I did this last year. It was last summer. I was very burnt out on editing for influencers, especially because I did a lot of like the alpha male guys,
yeah.
which that'll burn you out. That just kills your
Oh,
soul. But
they're tiresome.
yeah, so for fun, I wanted to see how long it would take me to create a viral video about birds.
Yeah.
And so like I would just go out in my backyard and I would film the birds there and I would make videos. My fourth one, I got 300,000 views. And
Wow.
my 15th one, number 15 is where I got 1 million views. And that's kind of like my guideline of if it's viral, if it
Yeah.
gets 1 million views. And so I got 1 million views on one. And I was like, okay, so there is demand here for it. And I do know how to do this. So that's kind of one of our goals for 2025 is to start a nature and animal themed channel, kind of
Yeah.
like Coyote Peterson, if you know who that is. So it's going to be me and my boyfriend working on this. And so, yeah, that's kind of like a fun thing because like now I know I have the skills where I can make viral videos about animals. So it's going to be one of our income streams, hopefully. Although it
Yeah.
is, making money on YouTube is it's hard. It's a grind.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and it is like thinking outside the box because I didn't grow up with social media. We didn't have it back then. And for me, it was like, okay, there's no zoo. I guess I have to give up on my dream of doing stuff with animals. But now there's this whole other path where like I can go work with like doing a video with a raptor rehabilitator and like
Yeah.
she all these raptors and stuff. So it's just amazing. And then it's so cool to me to see kids I talk to who are like 18, 19, 20, just like the crazy ways they come up with to make money and it works. And it's
Yeah.
just like the sky's the limit with it.
Oh yeah. No, that's pretty amazing because I mean that's quite a track record for what you're wanting to do agency wise. Also, I mean, to be able to say by the 15th video it hit 1 million. I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty amazing. You
That's
almost
a
downplayed
sign.
that when you were saying it, but that's a
Oh.
big deal.
I mean, I've had it. I can do it where I post one video on an account and it'll go viral. Like I'm that
Yeah.
good at it. The hard part is getting clients to do what I say. Because but like in order to go viral, very often you have to be shocking and controversial and all of that.
Yeah.
And people don't want to do that. And so that's kind of the hard part is convincing clients like, no,
Yeah.
like, this is what if you want to go viral, you don't have to go viral, but if you want to, this is what you got to do.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. With my UGC ads in my listings, I've got like no profanity. I can't say or do things that I can't like justify to my pastor, and so
Okay. Yeah.
that definitely limits some of the controversial nature.
Mhm.
But yeah, doing some of the not so much alpha male, like neighborhood alpha dad is what I call myself sometimes. Just
Oh yeah.
doing crazy stuff with the kids. But yeah, I just like to have fun, and
Mhm.
some of it goes big, some of it well, a lot of it falls flat, but just having fun.
It is, yeah. I mean, that's the other thing with viral content is a lot, or video content in general is like, out of every 30 videos, like 5 will do pretty good, and then 1 will be like a viral video, and the rest are just kind of And it's crazy too. Like you can take the same video and post it like on 2 different days, and one day it'll bomb, and then on the next day it'll take off and go viral. Like,
Yeah.
who knows why?
Oh yeah, yeah. The blow to my ego is when I'll post one with my kids that doesn't have me in it at all, and it'll do 10 times better than any of the others. It's like
Yeah,
take
yeah.
David out of it.
Kids and animals. It's actually one of my hobbies is like filmmaking. And there's a rule that in movies during very important scenes, you never have a kid or an animal like a dog because they're too
Yeah.
distracting and people will watch them instead.
That's funny. I never thought about it, but it makes perfect sense.
Mhm.
Yep. All right. So tell us about what you're doing now.
All right.
Or
Oh my gosh.
or
So
what you
much.
can tell us.
Yeah. So I've been a freelancer, just kind of working with clients and working for agencies for the last 5 years. This was kind of the year where I decided I was going to scale up and start my own agency, which is a lot harder than you think it would be. So, originally, and this is where I eventually want to move to, something I'm really passionate about is helping other moms because I had no skills and no money, and I've been able to go from making, $10 an hour to now, 6 figures, just by learning stuff on my own. And I had some good people to help me out and everything.
Yeah.
So, kind of where I'm going with my agency, and I'm not there yet, but I do want to have an agency where we really help moms to be able to develop like these skills like copywriting and social media and all of that. And so that way they'll always kind of have relevant skills that can make them money and earn them money.
Yeah.
So one is the agency. So I do have that. We have a couple of like really big influencer clients right now. And we're signing more. I'm actually going to be hopefully signing a movie studio as a client soon, which is
wow.
That's cool. That's really, really cool.
Yeah. All right. So let me tell for the listeners real quick. She can't tell you who it is right now, but you need to follow Jennifer. And that way, whenever she can announce that.
Oh yeah. So we have a couple of big influencers that are like in the entrepreneur space. I'm doing stuff or content for an AI company. So like a SaaS company, AI. And if you don't know what SaaS is, I know all the acronyms like used to confuse me. SaaS is just software as a service. So it's just an AI. It's a really cool AI company where you just take a YouTube video and you put the link in and it'll write a blog post for you within like 5 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. So there's that. There's also my personal brand. So that's something I've been working on is developing my personal brand. And I don't have any content out for that yet. I've been filming it this week, and next week I'm filming all of it. And like I've been hiring video editors and everything. So we'll have the personal brand. I kind of did things a little bit backwards, and I went and I found sponsors before I started the channel. For me, it was kind of like an easy pitch, but so I'll be doing like some brand sponsorships and affiliate marketing with that. I'm a big fan of affiliate marketing, and if you don't know what that is, that's basically like I'm a Legionnaire for First Form, which is a protein supplement company. So like if I give people a link and if they purchase using, my code or whatever, then I get a cut of that, which is pretty awesome.
Hey, be sure to send me that link and I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe I'll get a sponsorship from First Form.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna push it or anything. 'Cause it's protein powder, protein powder.
Affiliates are nice though, because I put affiliate links everywhere.
Yeah. It does taste good, I will say. Their protein does taste pretty good. What else? I'm going to be doing a few different courses. We have a bunch of stuff planned out for 2025. So there's going to be different courses. If you know what Skool is, Skool is a really
Alex
cool.
Hormozi.
Yeah. So I'm
talk about alpha male.
Yeah. So I worked for the agency that did his content, and actually to get hired, we had to edit a Hormozi video. So yeah. So I'm very, very familiar with his content, but anyway, so I'm really pushing, like I'm doing Skool memberships or Skool courses for a couple clients.
Yeah.
I'm really like pushing people towards that right now because like it is eventually going to go the way of Facebook groups where no one's going to really be into it anymore. So it's like
Yeah.
for 2025, I'm really pushing people like, get in, start the school group, build it up before it gets saturated and everyone
Yeah.
uses the platform. So kind of what I've been seeing works there is like 30-day courses where it's like something like start writing online or start posting social media content. And it's just the idea, it's like a 30-day challenge. And every day there's like a little 5 to 10 minute lesson. And then the person is supposed to go do the thing, like post the social media post. And then, at the end of the 30 days, they have 30 days of social media content.
Yeah.
I think that's it. There's probably some more stuff in there.
Yeah. There's always something else where a few bucks are coming in here and there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So with all that, one of the questions a lot of people ask me is how in the world do you do all that? Because you're not doing it all on your own. So how do you, like you independent contractors, VAs, how are you handling all that?
Honestly, right now, a lot of it is me. Yeah, I mean, anybody who hires people knows it's really hard to hire people.
Yeah.
Just because there's always like, I don't like to be one of those people who's like, nobody wants to work nowadays, but there's always competing interests and stuff. And like, if you're working with freelancers, like they have other jobs come up that pay more. And so a lot of times they leave. So I do a lot of it on my own. I do sometimes hire people like through Upwork. I'll hire people through there. I'm in various groups. And so like a lot of times if I need videos edited, I can find a video editor through
Yeah.
there. That's really a lot of it. I'm kind of at the point now where I like have enough disposable income. I can start to hire out more rather than do all of it myself. So I'm still
Yeah.
kind of at that point.
That's a good spot to be in, though. That's a good problem.
Yeah, it is. You do learn a lot. I've learned a lot about like hiring because I was definitely the boss where I tried to be everybody's friend. I learned that didn't work very well.
Yeah.
So I kind of had to start over and get rid of everybody and start all over. So that, and then, it's been slow. Like I've been doing this for 5 years, right? And I'm now finally at the point where I can like really start to scale things up. So it's just kind of been like doing a little bit at a time and a little bit at a time,
Yeah.
at a time, not trying to do everything all at once. The other thing, this is especially for moms, like I do have childcare, we have a nanny, because there's just no room where I live. Like there's a huge daycare crisis and there's nobody in,
Yeah.
there's no room. And we've been on waiting lists for 2 years
Oh, wow. So there's an income stream for somebody.
to open a daycare
Yeah.
or for a nanny. Yeah. So, I mean, that's
Yeah, the
nice.
nanny or the daycare.
Yeah. Cause she's awesome. She's a mom herself. And so it kind of gives her some money. So that was probably honestly the best hire I made was hiring childcare.
Yeah.
Because this is something I think a lot of moms struggle with, or a lot of parents in general, is you feel like you are supposed to be with your children 100% of the time, but you're also supposed to make a full-time income. And it's like really, really challenging to do both of those. And so like just kind of when I was trying to both be a stay-at-home mom and work, that was kind of a disaster. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's no such thing as work-life balance.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because I've got a home office here, and I mean, and we homeschool too. I got 5 kids that we homeschool, and it's some of my deepest work has to happen after they go to bed because that's the only time it's quiet, and I can kind of just actually think for a minute.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, I'm worn out, and I just binge watch stuff instead. So
Yeah, that happens too. Yeah. I really admire people who are able to homeschool and work because I know that I couldn't do it. I would get too stressed out. Yeah.
yeah. Now your boyfriend, he's part of the agency.
No, he's a professional bird watcher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did not know there were professional bird watchers. I always just thought of it as a hobby.
Yeah, he's an environmental scientist. But right now what he does are wildlife surveys. And so he has to go out, like he gets up at 3 a.m. and has to go out and they like see what birds and wildlife are in certain areas that they're going to be developing just to make sure that they're not doing all this damage to the ecosystem and everything. He does help me out sometimes. I do, because he actually has a background in film himself. And so it's nice to have an extra eye or his eye on stuff. But then we do a lot of stuff like this is like what we do as a couple for fun. So we're going to be doing like the animal stuff together because we're both really into animals, which is how we met. And then also he is very into what's called lapidary, which is like you go out and rock hounding. So he goes out into the desert and collects rocks.
Yeah.
And then there's like a whole way that you cut them and you polish them and do all this stuff. And so we're going to be doing some content for him so he can start selling all of his rocks.
Yeah,
Which
that is pretty
so
cool.
crazy. It sounds so weird, but it's actually really, really cool. They're beautiful.
No, I mean, how many years do we tell our kids, quit bringing rocks and sticks home? And your boyfriend, that's his job.
Oh yeah, and also he also does skulls, and so when he's out,
that I like.
finds like it's so gross. We have a badger, like a dead badger, in our garage right now, and like it's a system where the bugs have to eat it.
Yeah.
And so the bugs it smells and it's horrible, but like we have skulls everywhere. We have a lot of oryx skulls, which are like these really cool antelope from Africa that live out here in New Mexico. So there's just all kinds of crazy stuff.
Oh, no, I totally get you on that because my sister, she went to college to be a mortician, but she loves animal bones and skeletons. And my wife has actually stopped on the side of the road and picked up dead boar and stuff like that and put them in boxes and saved them for her. And it's weird, but I totally understand.
Yeah. We have like various jars with like, it's so gross because what you have to do, he did this with an oryx skull, is you put it in water and let all the flesh rot away, and it smells disgusting and it's so gross. So,
yeah. See, for us, for homeschool, that would be science class. Just, animal biology for science class.
That's cool. So I have an older daughter, she's 8, and she hasn't been doing great. She goes to a really good school, but kind of struggles. And so we have been talking about homeschooling her. So that's been a discussion that we've had.
Yeah.
So we're looking into it too. And especially because, especially if you have a kid who doesn't, and I think most kids don't really do well in the school system. It's really hard on them. So
yeah, it's hard to fit everybody into the mass.
And it's just not a good way of learning. Like my background is in behavior science because of the animal stuff and the zookeeping. And I love behavior science, and like sitting at a desk doing worksheets all day is a horrible way to learn.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. They're and like my 8-year-old or my 7-year-old, he's my youngest. And I'm just thinking if they strapped him to a chair all day long, the next thing would be, medication to slow him down and calm him down and everything.
Yes. Yeah.
It's easier for us to just let him run around outside.
Yeah, man. And it's hard too, even with my 8-year-old, I can start to see she's starting to get the hunched over posture from having to sit all day.
Oh.
And especially she started 3rd grade this year, and kinder through 2nd, they still had a lot of playtime and recess. And 3rd is when it's now like no more recess. You're going to sit and learn all day. And she's really struggling with it.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's not how kids are supposed to operate,
Yeah. All right. So as we get ready to wrap up, I always have a final question I like to ask. If you could drop everything and money wasn't an issue, you could do anything you wanted for a stream of income. And so you could live off of that, but you had to do that for the rest of your life. What do you think your dream stream of income would be?
Oh man. Okay.
This is eating salts all day long, or?
Yeah. So, all right, this is kind of weird. But have you heard of Michelle Carey? I've never can pronounce her name right. I'm sure I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Michelle Carey on YouTube.
I don't think so.
No. Okay. So she is my dream life. So, when the Marvel movies first started coming out back in like 2009, I got really obsessed with them, but I decided I wanted to be a superhero. Like I didn't just want to watch them, I wanted to be them. So I started doing superhero training. So I was
wait, is she the one that does all the, I'm going to become a butler and.
Yeah. So
okay, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Right. So this was before all of the YouTube, like the stunts that they did, all of that stuff. But I was doing like parkour and martial arts and lifting. And then I lived in DC. So I was always hanging out with like FBI agents and CIA and like that's what we did. I actually ended up marrying an FBI agent. And I was very into like spies and all of that. And so I was always like, I really should start a YouTube channel, like, and show all of this. And then I never did.
Yeah.
So I like, that would have been my dream, would be able, now I'm a little bit old. I don't think I could pull it off anymore, but I would totally do that. Just do like a superhero channel where I do all kinds of crazy stunts and challenges and stuff.
Oh man, that would be fun because she's amazing, and some of the stuff she does. I mean, she's so tiny and cute, and then some of the stuff she does is I wouldn't want to tackle it. I mean, it's not easy.
Yeah, well then you have an advantage. Let's say, so I did ninjutsu, which for, if you don't know, that's like how to be a ninja, but it's like an actual like art form, right? And I'm little, so like I'm 5'2", and I was like 100 pounds back then. So I was never good at the fighting. Like I was always going to get my butt kicked at fighting, but like I was really, really good at the sneaking around and hiding part. We would, every week we would like go out into the woods at night and do all this, like these like ninja stuff. And I kicked everybody's butt at that. Cause like I could just like get down in a little ball and nobody could see me, or I could, I was really good at sneaking around and not being seen or heard. So, yeah, you're good at, like, everybody's good at different things. And
no, that's pretty cool. I think once your agency takes off and you've got like crazy disposable income, you should just do that and just pay all the trainers you need. And
yeah, I think I'm a little old for it now. I'd probably really hurt myself.
I turned 50 in a few months, and I keep looking at guys that like Daniel Craig and some of the Marvel, the superheroes that are older than me, and they're still doing these crazy stunts. I mean, Ryan Reynolds isn't too much younger than me, and he's going crazy. And Hugh Jackman, he's older than me, and it's
But I also, like, I don't know how much of that is like they have a 25-year-old stunt person who's doing all of that for them, too. And
they can also afford the medical bills.
They can afford the trainers and all of that. So
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on with us, and I'll tell everybody that you're still tinkering with your brand and your social media handles and all that. So we don't have that to tell them yet, but be sure to check the show notes. And if it's out by then, it'll be in the show notes, and we'll send everybody over to you, and at least send you some more views on all those videos.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, thank you. It was great talking to you.
Yeah, great talking to you, and you have an amazing day.
You too.
Hey, everybody, I just wanted to mention one last time before you go, if you ever want to do any brainstorming, let's say you listen to one of these podcasts and you thought to yourself, Dave, that was an amazing guest, and your interview questions were so thoughtful and introspective and inspiring. It made me think about something new, but I don't have anybody to talk to about this. Well, that's what I'm here for. If you ever want to do a brainstorming session, I don't charge the same price for those that I do my regular coaching sessions, because the coaching sessions are, that's like a long-term thing. I work with people and hold their hand and tons of homework, stuff like that. But if you ever want to just get on a call and do some brainstorming, I love doing those. I love meeting new people in different occupations, things that I don't know anything about, and have them tell me all their secrets, all their goals, all their dreams, and we brainstorm new income ideas. And you know what I really like? Let me tell you a secret. One of the things I really like doing is helping people see how they can make additional income or create new income streams based off of things they're already doing. In other words, don't add another job. Don't take on another part-time job. Don't add 15 side hustles to your existing income streams, or stream if you're possibly in a full-time W-2 job. What I like doing is brainstorming with folks. It's like my specialty, and helping them figure out how to make money, more money, new money, sometimes passive money, with things they're already doing. And so if you want to do a brainstorming session on something like that or anything else, I don't mind talking about anything. Getting your kids into entrepreneurial stuff, trying to work with your spouse because they hate entrepreneurial stuff, whatever you want to talk about, click the link below. It should be in the show notes. I said below. I'm not sure how you're watching this, but it is in the show notes, whether those are on the side, below, or somewhere else. But check the show notes. There's a link in there for the $99 brainstorming sessions. And, if you want to, feel free to email me. Ask me if it's the right fit for you before you book, whatever you want to do. But just be sure to get the help you need to make sure that you're able to take those next steps toward your income streams.